Hi everyone and welcome to The Crow Show, brought to you by Chemist Warehouse. I'm Mark Bickley.
And I'm Alana Smith. As we head into the second half of the season, we'll continue to take you behind the scenes of the Adelaide Football Club.
Coming up in today's show, we meet the young man who's ready to step up in a big way.
And when the Crows fly as one, the Wings have to stretch a long way.
We may be in smaller quantities there, but once our team puts the pedal to the metal, I think the noise changes and you predominantly hear the Crow supporters over and above the opposition.
But first, Toyota's support of the Crows is one of the most enduring and lucrative sponsorships in Australian professional sport. During the week, that partnership was extended even further, underpinning the club's drive for success both on and off the field. The relationship goes right back to day one 25 years ago when the club unveiled its colours at Football Park. So just how significant is the sponsorship to the Crows and what does it bring to Toyota?
Significant event for our club, the announcement of Toyota, our inaugural major partner of course, to extend the contract for 3 years in what is a very competitive landscape. Sports sponsorship is just a delight. We really value the partnership. We've worked well with the dealers throughout South Australia and we look forward to now extending that out to 2019 and hopefully beyond.
You know, the Adelaide Football Club has a special place in our heart. 1991 when they entered the AFL and also for us that was the first year that we became the #1 auto brand.
Well, this is one of the biggest sponsorships, sports sponsorships in the state's history, which in itself is evidence that Toyota are backing the Adelaide Football Club to deliver on its promises to its members and supporters. What this allows us to do is invest in our football program, to give the coaches the necessary resources that they need and to create the environment that they need to allow the players to do what they do best, which is prepare and to play games of football.
Toyota prides itself on innovation and always looking forward to contributing to society, and those two pillars I think are two pillars that the Adelaide Football Club has also displayed throughout their history. It's more about connecting to grassroots, and sport allows that to do. It's where people have passion points, and of course aligning with those passion points is a key part of any brand. And finding a perfect marriage between two brands, or two like the Adelaide Football Club and Toyota, where those values are perfectly aligned, is a special union, and also I think an enduring one.
Sponsorship is critical. I mean, without sponsors you can't get to do the things that the members and the supporters want to see, which is play a game of football. Like every club, we aspire to have the most significant and best sports program, football program in the AFL competition, and the signing of Toyota allows us to fulfil that ambition.
Ever thought who'd replace Sam Jacobs if the big fella came down with an injury? Selectors could quite well turn to young Riley O'Brien. In just his second year with the Crows, the 20-year-old has established himself as one of the better big men in the sandful.
I love playing the ruck, so getting good minutes in there and learning a lot, playing every week in the sandful. So playing some good footy and the coach has got good faith in me, so really enjoying it.
A big mark, and that could be the seal for Riley O'Brien as he stands tall, takes the grab.
As soon as I played senior footy, I think I enjoyed that and played a bit better than in my juniors, just because I enjoyed the contest a bit more. And in senior footy, there's a lot more of the contests and physical stuff, so I think I really enjoy that and thrive on that. Ever since I was young, I've always been a little bit of a scrapper, but I've always been really competitive. Got two older brothers, always scrapped around with them, so I've always been a very, very competitive person, and I'll try and translate that onto the field. Doc Clark's awesome. He's awesome as a coach. Sam's also a great mentor as a player. He's obviously been around the system for years, knows the game inside out. He's a great ruckman, so gives a lot of tips at training. Going up against him is a bit of a challenge at training sometimes, but it's a good experience. And Doc's awesome, looks after us rucks really well, and yeah, just gives great insight. An area I like to keep improving is probably my marking. I'd like to see it as a strength sometimes, just a little bit in terms of consistency of that is probably the one thing I need to improve. So yeah, doing a lot of work in training with pods and Doc. Obviously you don't want Sam to go down, he's a great player, but I guess I'm always there to be ready if that does happen, if he has a week off, whatever. So I'm just trying to play the best footy I can, because it's obviously hard to break into the team at the moment, but I'm just trying to play the best sample footy I can and just, always be ready if that day did come. That's the goal, to play AFL. I'm here to play AFL, so if that day would come, it'd be great. So I'm just trying to improve and make sure I'm ready for that.
Riley was recruited from the Calder Cannons along with Jake Lever. Alana joins us after the break with an insider's account of how the club signed one of football's biggest names and why the ball bounced Adelaide's way in the inaugural women's competition.
Welcome back. Last week we learned that the Crows will be one of the landmark clubs to launch the National Women's Football League. The club's licence also gives the Northern Territory a stake in the 8-team competition, which will kick off in February next year. In this exclusive interview, AFL Chief Executive Gillon McLachlan explains why Adelaide's bid was successful and outlines the big plans for women's football.
It's a great day for Adelaide Football Club. I think the strategic decision to partner with the Northern Territory really meant that they actually, was a huge structural decision and a progressive decision. I think that was pretty critical.
Thank you for being here today for what is truly a defining moment in the history of Australian football. Our game will never be the same.
The inaugural clubs, founding clubs in the National Women's League will be looking back in 100 years and the people will talk about them being foundation clubs. It's no doubt that South Australia's behind most of the other states, but that's the opportunity. And now Adelaide's got to work hard, obviously getting those girls across, recruiting from other states and then developing the young women and recruiting out of the sports and developing the talented 16, 17-year-old girls for maybe not next year, but the year after and the year after that. Growing nationally at about nearly 30% compounded, girls playing club football. We'll put on another 250 teams this year. That aspiration and that goal, and I think that growth's only going to accelerate. I hope 18 clubs, and I hope that young women, girls playing football is as prevalent as boys and men playing, and that they have an influence on the culture of footy clubs, and they also feed those young girls, and if they don't play, they become coaches and volunteers and administrators, and that we truly represent everyone in our communities.
Wayne Carey is generally regarded as one of the greats of the modern game. But after he was forced out of North Melbourne in 2002, the King was on the lookout for a new club. The Crows put up their hand and successfully lured him to West Lakes. So how did Adelaide do the deal? Who better to us than then football manager John Reid?
At the time, Gary Ayres was coach, and Gary was looking for an extra forward. Obviously, we all know Wayne was available, all those circumstances. We made arrangements for a meeting in Sydney. We thought it would be easier to do it in Sydney than in Melbourne. We kept it under wraps pretty well. Not too many people knew where we were heading. One of the fears we always had was a year out of footy. You don't know how that's going to affect. We see that in all sports, tennis, whatever it might be. It can be hard to come back, particularly if you're towards the end of your career rather than the start of your career. You had a couple other clubs circling at the same time. We had worked out a contract price. It wasn't a high contract figure. If I said sort of around the 350, 1 year, 400, the second was about right. We had him medically checked. Also asked the doctor to sort of, as best they can, sort of psycho-wise, just to see where he was situated mentally. They did that very well, and he ticked up all clear.
Gary Ayres was looking like the cat that had swallowed the canary.
Certainly a great piece of recruiting by the club, and certainly going to be a big help for us next year in our forward line.
But I wouldn't be coming back if I thought I'd fail.
We knew he'd take some time to get back into gear, and he did. His form was a bit average early, but he started to play some really good footy.
Airball inside, airball here, wants to give it back to Carey. Left foot snap, oh, what a goal!
I don't think I've been involved with a player that's understood the game and what was happening, as well as what Wayne did. His contribution at team meetings and amongst the player group, and the sort of information he could pass on to Ian Perry and some of those guys, was invaluable.
A serious neck injury forced Wayne Carey to retire after round 12 in 2004, having played 28 games for Adelaide and kicking 56 goals. Well, for Crows fans, there's nothing better than the solidarity and camaraderie of being with tens of thousands of fellow supporters in a packed Adelaide Oval. Spare a thought, though, for those across the border who are just as passionate about the club but don't have the strength of numbers. So, what's it like flying the flag in enemy territory?
We don't feel threatened, if anything. I think it's more of a challenge for us to lift the team. We may be in smaller quantities there, but once our team puts the pedal to the metal, I think the noise changes, and you predominantly hear the Crow supporters over and above the opposition.
All on his lonesome, and he'll kick it goal.
You've only got to look at the display from the West Coast game. There was quite an array of support and noise coming out of the stadium over there. It's similar in Brisbane. The Gold Coast game was just as passionate as the one we had in Western Australia. So yeah, we do have a really good supporter base right around the country. Our Melbourne supporters, we have quite a large supporter base. I think there's about 1,500 members in Melbourne. The supporter group has probably about 60 members over there. Some of them even have season tickets at Adelaide Oval, where they come across on a regular basis and support us here. They stay in Adelaide, they fly back there after the match, and yeah, they really look forward to coming over here.
This would be a real lifter. How about that? Walker kicks a goal.
I think when it comes to travelling fans, yeah, I would say we do have the best travelling fans. The supporter group actually do run buses interstate, and there is quite a clamour to get on those buses. You've only got to look at the finals from last year and the number of vehicles that toured over to Victoria to go and watch us play the Bulldogs and Hawthorn. Yeah, I really do believe we have, without doubt, some of the best and most passionate supporters in the country.
Our next Melbourne game is against the D's at the MCG on July 3rd. Well, still to come, meet the backroom boys who dissect every part of the game. And brothers in arms, Smithers talks to fellow defender Kyle Cheney.
Kyle Cheney has certainly impressed at the Crows since coming across from Hawthorn at the end of 2014. He's become a versatile defender who can play both tall and small. But how does he cope with the pressure of facing Brodie Smith? All thanks to Aussie Ripper Roasts.
Two Chains, Kyle Cheney, welcome to the Ripper Roast.
Thanks for having me, Brodie.
Having a really good year. What have you put your improvement down to this year?
Yeah, I think just the way we've changed our defence has probably suited the way I play. We've gone to a more proactive style of defence and relying on pressure up the field. So yeah, I'm not getting caught one out too often, which is good.
And what about disposals wise? You've called yourself you're dragging the chain for the backs. We had a game where the backs racked up, even Lever had 30 and you've still dragged it with 18.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Well, I checked my stats after the game, which most of us do, and I've had 18, so I was pretty happy with that. But I was like you said, still dragging the chain. So yeah, I don't get on the end of too many, which is unfortunate, but you steal them all.
Just a selfless role.
Yeah, too many spoils, I think.
So off-field, just what's some of the things you like to get up to away from footy?
Yeah, I don't have too many hobbies. I'd like to say that I'd like to start playing golf, but I'm a shocker at it. I bought some sticks not long ago, but may as well throw them in the bin. Not really much else. Bit of Xbox and studying a diploma in business at the moment, but yeah, not much other than that.
And tell us about your little mate Wheezy, the only dog I've seen poop upside down. How's he going?
Yeah, he's still all right. Still doing his business upside down for some unknown reason. He backs up against a tree and does his business on his back, and I have to wipe it off at times, but Yeah, he's going all right.
All right, Kyle Cheney, thanks for joining us.
No worries, thanks Brodie.
Coaches and players could easily be overwhelmed by the wealth of stats, vision and information available to them. Fortunately, there are specialists who interpret and distill all the data and present it in a ready-to-use format. They're known as analysts, and we explore what they do in Under the Coach's Roof, brought to you by Revolution Roofing.
So we have a team of 4 guys in our football analysis department. They'll work with each of our assistant coaches to sift through all the video and all the stats that are available and help bring down the amount of video that is available into just the parts that are really usable for our players. Well, the most important thing for us is to create a really good learning environment for our players. So in order to do that, we need to make sure that all the vision that they're seeing is all the important stuff. We don't need them to sit in a meeting room for an hour at a time. We just want them to see the key clips and make sure that they're getting the best learning available. So my role as opposition analyst, I obviously filter through all the games that our previous opponents play, and then I'll pick out the key clips to show the coaches, as well as some key clips just to show the players as well. It's certainly good for our players that they're able to get the most relevant clips, but there's probably a double-edged sword because there's so many different cameras on them now. There's really nowhere to hide out on the ground. So we make sure that they're doing all the right thing. We make sure we're giving them all the best teaching points. At the same time, it's probably a bit different than how it was 15 years ago when it was one person with a VHS tape running back to find the best vision.
The modern coach would almost be lost without them. Stay with us and see if you are our face in the crowd. And where are we going when this crow takes us on holiday?
With the bye out of the way, the players' next break won't come until the end of the season, but that gives them plenty of time to plan their long holiday. Thanks to our friends at Flight Centre, Troy Menzel takes us to his favourite destination.
I'd probably say when we went to Europe for the AIS Academy and visited places like Milan and that, I'd probably say Italy is the best place I've been to. Just the culture and just the architecture of the place. It's an amazing place. It's a lot different to Australia, and that was the first time I'd been out of the country. So to experience such a different culture was awesome.
Now is the time we go searching among the 50,000 fans at Adelaide Oval for our face in the crowd. So, who will it be this week? Let's see. What about this person? If this is you, make sure you contact the club by 5 p.m. next Wednesday. Be ready with some photo ID and you'll receive a merchandise pack courtesy of Chemist Warehouse.
Coming up next week, we look back at the 98 qualifying final. I remember it well. We were soundly beaten by Melbourne. But as we know, our season was far from over.
And interchanges. There must be a plan, but what is it?
That wraps up our show for this week. Thanks to Chemist Warehouse.
Thanks very much for joining us, and we look forward to your company again next Sunday, but at the later time of 2 o'clock.
That time again, 2 p.m. next Sunday. See you then.
Bye for now.